what we wanted to do is, I'm so glad you guys made it here. I do want you guys to be mindful. Okay, Nebraska. We got Nebraska in the house. I do want you to be mindful that if you can come on the camera, please do. I do want this to be interactive. I do want you guys to go ahead and drop your questions if you have any already down in the chat, along with where you are tuning in from. But yeah, like I said, I'm so glad you guys made it here tonight. This is our space to really just get real, reflect, and rebuild together. African proverb says that if you want to go somewhere fast, you go alone. But if you want to go somewhere far, if you want to get really far, you take others, baby. Everybody have different strengths and weaknesses. And you made it through the first 2 nights. The first 2 nights. So give yourself, we're going to take a moment, give yourself a little pat on the back. Little pat on the back. You made it to the first 2 nights. Everybody didn't make it here, but we here today. Some people just tuning in, baby. You welcome. Come on in the room as well. We are so happy. Now, just a quick debrief or recap of day 2 yesterday. Dr. Laura led us through a great presentation. There were many gems dropped. We had the XYZ statement as well as the pause before you react challenge. And those two things really taught us to slow down and ask ourselves 2 questions. Welcome, Alexis. Welcome everybody into the room. Don't forget to drop where you are and any questions that you have. But yeah, that presentation really just got us to slow down and ask ourselves those 2 questions. And those 2 questions were, one of them was, what do I feel when I feel seen and I feel heard? What is that feeling when you feel seen and you feel heard? And the other one is, what helps make you feel seen enough to show what you're really thinking or really needing? Like, what is it that you need to feel safe enough to have that conversation? Hey, I feel like when you talk to me like that, that tone, we kind of, it needs to change. It's a little aggressive. It doesn't create a safe environment for me to really just tell you how I'm feeling. So being mindful of those questions. We did have some new people join. Welcome, Rick. Welcome, Alexis. Don't forget to try to turn your camera on if you can. Drop where you from, as well as any questions. So, like I said, we was gonna come back to that day 3. I am Andrea, aka Miss Cookie. I am a social worker and life coach, but most people know me from the girl with the TV tools. I'm always talking, as you see from the background, I'm always talking about TV, music, as well as movies, because sometimes Beyonce or Ronald Isley, Darius and Nina, Martin and Gina, baby, sometimes they say it best. You know, sometimes we don't always have the words, but sometimes those other mediums, those other options of media can help. So, welcome to the room. Welcome to the room. Now, as far as day 3, today was day 3. This was the help me feel safe again, the safety rebuild letter. And I would love to know you guys' questions about that, how that experience was. I'm gonna give you some moments. Go ahead and get yourself together, ask your questions, drop them in the chat, or I'll give you a moment. We'll come into a section where you can go ahead and I'm gonna open the floor and we can open that door for any of those questions. Let it be a little bit more conversational, just not me up here yapping. But yeah, so as far as the letter, it was just for you to write that letter, or maybe even just a few sentences about what helps you feel safe again after hurt or betrayal. Now, some of you may have wrote pages, and some of you could have just stared at the screen, and that's perfectly okay. The goal isn't perfection; it's honesty. It's getting real. And if you found yourself stuck, that's normal. Writing about safety sometimes literally highlights the moments where we didn't feel safety at all. And that hurts. That can be a painful thing, and that's okay. But that's awareness. And awareness is the first step in truly rebuilding something. How you know it's time to get your tool belt and rebuild if you don't even know something broke. So awareness is the first step. Like I said, y'all, I'm gonna get off this pedestal. I've been talking. I've been talking for a little bit, but I do want to open the floor for any questions, concerns, or challenges with this challenges. I do have some guiding questions, but I want to know what you guys are feeling, what you guys are thinking, what's going on for you all.
Miriam, are you
Sister,
there?
I'm gonna start calling names in a minute. You
Let's
don't have to do that.
we coming to hear you guys talk. So what questions do y'all have? Go ahead and let us know in the comments. This is gonna be how you really get the most out of an experience like this is from unmuting yourself and showing up, turn your camera on. You know, I want to make sure you guys get the most out of this. Miriam, go ahead and kick us off.
I feel like when I express things to my husband that he'll probably hear me for a week, but then the following week we're just in the same place where we started. We move backwards and it just becomes a cycle of the same thing. I express this, I need this to feel safe. He says, okay, it's good for about a week, and then he turns right back around and does X, Y, and Z.
Okay. And I hear you there, and it sounds like consistency is a thing. You know, you like you said, he'll do it or they'll do it for that short period of time for that week, but then it falls off after that. I kind of need you to keep this up. Now we're in a place where we're probably having the same conversation over again. My tone is probably gonna be a little bit different this time because I done had to say it once before. And as this conversation progresses, probably going to get a little bit more there's going to be a little bit more tension, should I say. But as long as you are, I guess, I guess that will be my next question. What are you doing to relay that level of consistency? Excuse me, communicating that to him?
I just tell him straight up, I don't like the way you're speaking to me. Can you change your tone? And sometimes it just doesn't work.
Okay.
Like
Now,
when we're in the heat of the moment or in the middle of an argument.
mhm,
So most of the time I just withdraw, and it's usually the silent treatment for a long time because
okay.
I just step away, and then it's like no communication after that.
Mhm, okay. So yeah, and that's the thing too. So I guess it sounds like maybe after the fact isn't the best approach. I guess my next step would be before. Do you know what normally triggers this? Because it sounds like there's some level of consistency. You said there is a week or so where the tone is in check. There's not, he's not talking to you in a way that you don't feel like is, unacceptable. But then after that, there's a cutoff. Do you think maybe there's a trigger in there? Have there been a conversation about maybe what's going on in those moments where he can't really I guess, reduce or regulate that tone?
I think what he might say a trigger is that he said this, he said whatever before, and he has to say it again.
Okay. So repeating.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's having to repeat himself, and that is making, okay. Interesting. So him repeating himself. Okay. So I guess, is this a conversation that has come up a lot?
Yeah.
Okay. And are you having a hard time? Are you guys having some type of block there and getting over this?
I don't know.
It does sound like it. It sounds like it is a block, and it sounds like you've been dealing with it for a while. Miriam.
Yeah.
So I think that like I think that one change in the system impacts a whole system. It's just my perspective that you changing your approach, you changing your tone, you being in spaces like this is very impactful, you know? And so even though like probably the best option would be for y'all to both be in couples therapy. That would probably be the best option. But in lieu of that, just you being here is gonna have an impact.
Yeah, definitely. Because I agree. And if you, I'm pretty sure you have, but I would just suggest to have a follow up conversation about that trigger for him. Like maybe it's maybe not a good time to have this conversation with him this time of day or after this day of the week or whatever the case may be. It sounds like there's something going on where this conversation, it may not be the time to have it at that time, but the conversation still needs to be had. But it sounds like you may not been 100% sure on what his trigger was. So I definitely suggest having that conversation, getting clear about what that trigger is so you kind of know how to navigate it. Because like you mentioned, we don't want you to shut down because then now your feelings aren't being heard. You're not voicing anything and you guys aren't getting closer to solving that problem. So with the key, it sounds like the key here is to somewhat, figure out, honing in on what that trigger is so that you guys can navigate getting over this issue without triggering him and therefore triggering yourself so that you're shut down and you're not even expressing yourself. And that can be challenging to try to do on your own. So we definitely suggest you, seeking some support, and reaching out to a couple counselors. We have some here to guide you through that process because there's a lot of tools. People communicate differently, and sometimes those are some very sacred conversations that need to be had. Groundbreaking, even. But yeah, I love it.
Okay.
Anything else?
So, question from Facebook: how do I know if I am truly ready to rebuild trust or if I'm just afraid of letting go? What you
Mm.
think?
And I think that kind of hones into like knowing yourself. To me, it goes back to understanding what are your deal breakers. Do you set and clarified what your deal breakers are? Because if one of those things fell into that deal breaker line, it may be something that you probably can't come back from because now that you're in thick of it, you're in love, you think about the memories, the times y'all was laughing and throwing popcorn at each other. You're not thinking about that list you made before him that you made when you said no cheating. That's done. No, he has to be a man of God. Those firm things that you had said, I think honing in on those. And if you did not have those set out already, just being real with yourself, having a real conversation with yourself about what are your limits, honing in on your values and morals, and saying like, what is something that I know is going to be like almost close to impossible for me to bounce back from, because that's going to be the challenge. Because if you set yourself up for the okie doke and you bend on one of your deal breakers, you setting yourself up for a very long process. And it's gonna be hard work. It's gonna be harder than it should be because you're doing work you ain't got no business doing in the real world because that's your deal breaker. But yeah, I would just say be mindful of who you are, your morals and values, and if that's something you can actually build back from. But yeah, some of the guiding questions that I took away from the challenge today was, did the letter bring up any open pain? Also, jumping back a few, I did see a comment about someone that did not necessarily get to the challenge tonight, but was going to get to it. So, like I mentioned earlier, the challenge was really just a safety rebuild letter. And that letter was basically just you writing a letter or maybe even just a few sentences about what helps you feel safe after hurt or betrayal. What helps you feel safe again? And a lot of times you're going to find that, hey, I may know my ABC up, down, left code, or I have no absolute idea on what it makes or what it takes to make me feel safe. And that's perfectly fine as well, because that's all levels of awareness. But yeah, some of the guiding questions or some of the questions that could have popped up was, did the letter bring up any old pain? And one question that I really, really appreciated when it came up was, did it make you think about your partner, your parents, or even your younger self differently? Because all of those different pieces play a part in who you are today. Your partner, you're with them for a reason. Your parents, they have something to do with who you are. And your younger self, that's who we all doing it for. We all doing it for our younger selves. So after thinking about your level of safety, how do those people play a part in that? But yeah, I definitely want to open the floor back up and let's talk about, you guys, what, even if you haven't even got into the challenge, let's just talk about what safety looks like for you. Like, what does it take to get back in your good graces, as my grandma would say? Miss Alexis, Mr. Rick, anybody? I'm here. I'm open. Let's talk it out.
Well,
I'll
Angel,
go since I'm kind of new here. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. What was your question?
For me, I think my safety would look like us getting back to where we were when I felt like you were an open book compared to where we are now, where I feel like since all the messes happened, we're both in a defense mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
So we both stay guarded. And I know I say a little more guarded, and I'm a little more of what he considers an aggressive female. It's like I say what I say, I mean what I say, and if you don't like it, oh well. And I know, like, I, for me, that doesn't put him in a safe space, which then makes him defensive, which then makes me feel defensive. Like, why are you being so defensive? So I think it's really just refining that balance.
Yeah. And I appreciate that so much, because finding that happy medium again after the boat's been rocked, how do we get back to that happy medium? And you're definitely preaching to the choir. I born and raised Southwest Atlanta. My tone is very aggressive sometimes. Oh my God, today I've had to work on that a lot, because when I'm talking to my partner, I have to let him know this is a safe space. You can open up, you can be vulnerable, you can tell me your feelings, but when I feel hurt, sometimes this tone change a little bit, and I have to be mindful of that. So yeah, I will say tone does play a lot in that, and being able to get back to that happy space. I would say my biggest thing in those moments when we're in battle, and I think Dr. Lewis definitely tapped on that yesterday. Pause before you react. Like, you gotta think about what you're saying before you say it. Think about what you do before you do it. What are the consequences of this? Because the thing about revenge, you do that with the ops. You do that with somebody outside your household. You can't be in here trying to play Call of Duty with your old man now. You can't. He's not the opponent. He is on your team. We teammates. So you do have to be mindful. And I think changing the mindset of, oh, is he coming for me? Oh, he thought he did his bit one with that, didn't he? Oh, okay.
And
Well, I got this.
that's how I take it. It's like, are you trying to punk me right now, or are we trying to have a serious conversation? Because I kind of feel like you're trying to play me, so now I got to step it up. And he's more like, I really just want you to get in a soft era. But as someone who never grew up in a soft era, I don't know what that looks like as a woman. And
Yes.
sometimes I feel like that's sad to say, but I grew up in a very dysfunctional all boy household. Like, it was eat or sink or swim. And so it survive, the best you can. And then you get out here and you have your kids, and I'm raising the kids by myself because their parent decided he don't want to be a parent. And you try to get in this serious relationship, and it's like, I'm hyper independent, and you want this soft person, and I don't know what that person looks like. I don't know who she is or how to find her.
Yeah. And I love that you said that, because that's the first step. Thank you for saying that so much, because that's the first step. Cultivating her. She needs a safe space. We need to create her a safe space. But with your relationship in mind, of course, let him help. He wants to help. It sounds like he's trying to help create that safe space for you to be in that soft girl era, because I know that's what we all crave. Deep down inside, we ain't trying to work no laborious life now. There ain't nobody trying to do that. Now I understand we all got our passions and our hobbies and stuff that we would do for free, but ain't nobody out here just really trying to do all that. So yeah, I would say lean into that. I know it will be hard and I know it will be challenging. But one thing that I know I love to encourage clients to do is make it fun. Like I was a techie kid, so I was all into like building dolls and putting little outfits together. So even if it's you getting on Pinterest and you creating a Pinterest board of your soft girl era, what does that look like? Hobbies that you do, date nights that you can go on, outfits for your date nights. That I want you to get you some heels so high to the point where you have to be ladylike all night. You have to let him do for you, because you're going to fall over if you don't. You got to let him help you, but you have to be mindful to create situations, environments to let him shine and let you be in that soft girl era. Is even being in that soft girl era something that you desire?
It is. I would love, and this is no joke because I've said it to him in some of our most. I would love to be that person that doesn't have to feel like I have to take the world on.
Mm-hmm.
As a single parent who raised my kids and they've left the nest, and I've got married. I took on his children. I have a 9-year-old, but I share custody with his father.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to be able to step back and say, okay, you got it, cool. But it's so hard to do that when other people have let you down so much that it's like, okay, I know we getting ready to hit this wall, and he's like, just let us hit the wall. I'll figure it out. And me, it's like, I don't want to hit the wall though. Like, why we got to hit the wall
Yeah.
for us to figure it out? And then it's like I'm stepping on your manhood, or you feel like I'm stepping on your manhood because I'm not allowing you to let us hit that wall so you can show me that you got it to figure it out. But at the same time, I'm still like, we hit this wall. This is gonna happen. It's a fear. It's hard for me to let that rain go.
Mm-hmm. I want you. It's a few things you said. I had to write them down for my mind. Forgot them. It's a few things that you said while you were talking. You said other people. Keyword other people, not him. Other people
Hmm.
let you down, not him. You can't put him through them other people issues. He didn't do that to you. So until he do that to you, you can't put him through that. Being mindful of letting him be the man. You want you a man, let him be one. Let him be one. You gotta give him room to be one. That's what you chose him for, because he was a man. You wouldn't have chosen him if he wouldn't have been a man. And I want people to understand the number one way to increase your anxiety is worrying about the future. There's no way for you to prevent the future. I can't prevent my own hurt. I can't prevent this from happening. The only way you can really do that is staying true to who you are in the moment and being mindful about what it is that you want. I understand the last people, like those other people that you mentioned, they hurt you, they betrayed you, they said one thing and they may have switched it up. But he ain't did that. We got to give him some room to do his big one, as well as you got to let life live. You got to go out here and experience. You can't micromanage every little piece, because it's going to mess around and slip you by. Life going to keep happening at the end of the day. The day got to end. And let that man be a man. And I would say I'm saying it like it's a joke, but I understand 100% where you coming from. Please understand. But I would say start by just doing one small thing and let him do it. Just take one small thing off your plate and giving it to him. One thing, make sure you're comfortable with it, of course. But lighten your load. Slightly, slowly but surely, lighten your load. We in this together. For sure, for sure.
I think that's such a process that we go through as women, get into that place of trusting that our husbands, our partners, our spouses has it, even um when we've been broken or dropped or abandoned or, taken for granted. It's so hard to trust. So
And now what
well
I
said,
really
Miss Cookie. Well said.
also what I love about what you said, what I thought about when you said it is, when you're trusting your partner after you went through things, what you fail to realize is you're also trusting yourself because you chose your
Hmm.
partner after the hurt and betrayal. You went through that pain and got your lesson. You learned your lesson and you chose this partner after that. So if you trust them, that means you trust yourself in your choosing. You got to be mindful of that. You got to trust your partner because you learned your lesson. You knew not to choose the same one again, and you didn't. Rely in that. Stand in that. That's the thing. But yes, I love that. Any more questions, you guys? Anything else? Any cry outs, concerns? Like I mentioned, I did have some examples to go through. But like I said, I wanted to hear from y'all. I want this to be a conversation. Any questions, concerns about rebuilding trust, feeling safe again? I know it's a tough topic for sure, but it's a needed topic.
Alexis, I don't think, did we hear from you? What was your process like with the homework, Alexis?
I didn't really have I spoke to my husband about it before he just left for work, and we were both like, we don't know how this relates to us because we've have I feel very safe with him, very safe to express myself. I think we also have this healthy level of like sarcasm to say things that hurt us so that it's the like softens the blow. um so I really had just trouble trying to figure out how do I need to rebuild safety. And I don't think safety for me is the same thing as like rebuilding trust, because of course trust has been broken, just like, but in small things, like if you say you're going to do something, just do it, and if you don't do it, then that triggers me because I would not let you down like that. So I've just still been sitting and exploring the question, I guess, for myself.
Okay.
Cookie, what's your thoughts?
I love that though because looking at safety from different lens. I haven't necessarily dealt with the higher level or the more severe levels of trust being broken, but we have endured some, smaller levels or some levels that still, impacted me, but they weren't life changing. They weren't close to my deal breakers or anything like that. And those things I feel like, are still important to, navigate and be mindful of because those things add up. And if we don't, be mindful, if we're not mindful of them in the beginning, they can't add up. But I do appreciate that the different sides of safety. So being able to feel safe. Like I've seen you go off mute, Alyssa. Did you have something else to say?
Oh yeah, I was just about to say that. Like, I'm not sure if you can speak to, because I mentioned this the other day that I've only been married for a year, and within that time we've also had our newborn. So she's 10 months. We got married like a month before she was born. So it's very exciting time, especially for my husband. It's his first child. It's my second one. So there's just been a lot of good, and then we're just so busy doing life. So are there like any signs or things to look out, or proactive things that I could just think about, so that I already have the toolkit to deal with when I might feel unsafe, whatever that might look like?
I mean, I guess off the top of my head, the first thing I'm thinking about is very much so having some open communication. So I would suggest maybe instilling or building into you guys' routine, maybe a weekly check-in or a conversation time so that you guys can just have a real raw moment where, hey, if there's anything that you're feeling or if there's anything that I'm feeling, this is our time to air our grievances or talk about it, or anything like that. But just making sure that that communication is open. Like you said, there aren't any issues. It sounds like you guys are very much so in that honeymoon phase. We're
Yeah.
still loving and nurturing that baby. And congratulations. I love to hear all of that. But I would say, yeah, just making sure that communication stays open as you are still supporting or I guess supporting your bodies as it regenerates after giving life, as he I guess reintegrates back into the working world and all of that, just making sure that you guys stay on the same page and build in that communication. So yeah, that would be my suggestion, to stay proactive. So that if there's any issues that do come up, you guys already have something built in your schedule for, well, I ain't get to tell him this day, but Saturday nights we talk every night, and I'm gonna tell him then. So
Gotcha.
you already have it built in. How does that work for you? How does that feel for you?
Yeah, that sounds good. That's definitely something we've talked about, trying to find a consistent day. I know that I have said that, like, okay, let it be immovable. If it's on the calendar, it cannot move. But he hasn't like necessarily lived up to that because work, and it's just like, well, you got to go to work because we need money. So I'm just trying to, I guess, figure out how to bring up that conversation again. We talk every day, but it's not like an intentional, hey, do you have something emotional to say? We do respect each other's, I guess, energy and time. Say, hey, do you have capacity to talk about this? I'll tell you the topic, and then we can continue, or we can try to save it for another time. We don't always go back to it for the time. So yeah.
And that's the thing, because I'm assuming is going on, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you guys are reintegrating back into the world, so things are kind of not consistent, things are ever changing and growing. But I will say, you guys eat every day.
Yeah.
You guys take a bath every day, and please hold my hand when I say this, and I hope I don't step on too many people's toes, but y'all do it.
Yeah.
So that's a time to talk. You can talk before or after. That's gonna happen. So that talk, we just gotta get creative about where we start. It can be over a meal. It can be while I'm on the toilet, you in the shower. It whatever works for you guys. But
Gotcha.
finding that time, but prioritizing that, because it's important, is gonna be what's key. So yeah, it don't have to be 3 hours. A cool 15, cool 30 might just do it. Because what we don't want it to be is a prolonged, drawn out thing where it seems like a punishment or a sentence, and nobody wants to do it. We don't want to make it like that. We want to make it light. We want to make it fun. We can put it over some music. Let's make a game around it. Whatever the case may be, but make it a thing, but build it as a routine for sure.
Okay, thank you.
No worries, no worries. Anything else, anyone?
Looks like there is a question that came in. Is it possible to rebuild emotional safety even if full trust doesn't return?
Even if emotional safety, even if full trust doesn't return. That's a good one. I'm not sure about that one, because I'm thinking one is contingent upon the other. How can you feel safe with someone that you don't trust? And how could you trust someone you don't feel safe with? So I feel
They're
like,
both necessary, I think.
for sure. And I think, and honestly, for any relationship, friendship, relationship with your coworker, sometimes you got to be able to feel safe. There has to be a level of trust. So yeah, you kind of and I feel like that's one of those questions that kind of tied into that other question, where it's like, am I kind of wasting my time still trying to fight for something here, or has the damage already been done? Is this one of your morals and values have been crossed, or is this a deal breaker? If you don't think you'll ever be able to feel safe or trust this person again, you kind of gotta move. You kind of gotta move wise, and that don't sound like the right direction.
And I will say this, I have worked with couples who they felt like that. Like at
Right.
one point in the relationship, they felt like, oh, this is a deal breaker. I would never. And then as a result of doing couples counseling, they were able to get a newfound hope in the relationship, and they were able to get on the other side of it. So yeah, it's like one of those things, never want to say never, because God can really show up and blow your mind.
Very much so. Very much so. It's just all about your readiness levels and your ability to do work. If you're able to do the work, anything is capable. It's when the person stop doing the work or feel like, it's not worth it, that's when it's time to walk away. But if you feel like this is something to definitely still work for, if there's love still there, if you feel like there's a fighting chance, definitely seek support. There's many tools, and you may have went to therapy before and it didn't necessarily work out in the way that you want, but that may have not been the right therapist. You may have needed someone a little bit more unconventional, a little bit more, you may not have feel safe enough to open up to them about everything that you needed to. So I definitely think that is a thing. um are there any more questions, or should I go into some of the examples, or what should
It
you?
looks like it's a couple more questions.
Okay.
Let's see. How can a partner support your needs for safety without becoming defensive?
How can a partner support your needs?
For
Well,
emotional safety without becoming defensive. I'll post it in the chat again. Team, if
oh,
you can post the questions again in the chat so they're
okay.
at
How
the
can
top.
a partner support your need for safety without feeling blamed or defensive? Okay. And then that's, I think, this is going to be a tool or something that I bring up a lot of the times that people get tired of hearing, but that's where those I statements really come in. You got to really redirect the way that you speak. Sometimes we like to play the blame game. Sometimes we like to say things, well, when you and woo, that you hurt. That you get to feel like a bullet after a while. Like, baby, I'm here to help. I'm the only one here. And you shoot me down. Like, come on now. I'm trying to stay strong for you. But yeah, being mindful of the way that you're communicating. So those I statements, I feel when you, but when you insert in that action word, because it's an action word, you got to be mindful of that. I don't want you, or it is not advised. It's not suggested that you start hitting the jugular. That's when we start going for that revenge. That's when we start. Remember that one time, and remember then, and then. Well, actually, we're talking about this one specific time. I need one action word right there. So yeah, I think it's really being mindful of our tone as well as our use of those I statements and how we're directing the language. How are we saying what we're saying? If you are using language that sounds like you're focusing on the other person that you're talking to, you need to be talking about, everybody need to be talking about themselves. That's my easy workaround. Everybody should just talk about themselves. It sounds selfish, right? But actually it's the safest way to talk in those type of relationships where nobody gets offended because you're being defensive. You talk about yourself. Hey, I feel like this. And then I do this because I feel like this. You can throw in some actions, only actions from others, because you are responding. A lot of times we're responding to things. So be mindful of that tone as well as that communication and the way that we directed that language. Let me see.
Next question. How do I stop replaying the betrayal in my mind when I want to move forward?
So for me, personal experiences or personal situations, writing it down, journaling it, sometimes talking it out with a therapist. Hey, now that works because a lot of times we don't feel seen, we don't feel heard, and then it's replaying. Our minds are going to keep replaying it because it's not being you're not being aware of it. So it's like, hey, I'm here. You're not being aware of me. And it's going to keep ringing. So sometimes you need to play it out, talk it out. And doing that in a safe environment is key. Safest environment is definitely therapy. Definitely therapy. Because by law, they can't tell nobody your business. By law, they'll go to jail for it. It's a thing. How does,
Comment.
what was that? Go ahead.
This is Rick. I have a quick comment. As far as those I statements,
Mm-hmm.
slowly but surely, I have read recently Gary Chapman's book on things I wish I'd known before I got married. And in one of those chapters, he talks about the I statement. So I just wanted to help reiterate those I statements of I feel instead of it feeling like the attack of you. Well, you always do this or you always do that. It's I feel as though when you do this, this is what how I feel. Or I feel that when you say this, this makes me feel a certain way. So I'm slowly but surely trying to change my language of how I speak. I just wanted to put that out there in case anyone wanted to read that book or look further into those I statements so it doesn't feel like an attack on the other person. Or there was a statement in the other Whisper Challenge that if you don't want to um, like disregard someone else's feelings or something along those lines. Like you don't want to just dismiss their feelings with how they feel. That's all.
Yes, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. And yes, they are. It's not like you see. It's not an overnight thing. It is a process. It is a learning thing. You have to day by day take a pause before you react and think about what you're saying before you say it. Because those I statements, those moments, they're very tender. Those are very sacred moments when you're having those conversations because when you're vulnerable. And that vulnerable space is make it or break it time. You don't want to say the wrong thing and somebody feel hurt. Now, oh, well, the next time and the next time I'll. Actually, no, calm down. That ain't what we're supposed to be doing right now. Open up. Time to open up, actually, this time it's time for you to open up because this is the moment. You guys are open, you guys are safe, and you don't want someone to feel slighted or shorted in those moments because the next time they're less likely to open up and be as open as they need to be. And what I also appreciate about those I statements is the ending part. I would like if you could come with a suggestion, baby. Come with a suggestion. Because if you ain't got no suggestion, then you know how hard this really is, then, huh? If you couldn't give me a suggestion, you know that this could be a balance because either one, you've learned like I've learned, and this is how we both react. You just don't like when I do it. Or this is really a big issue for you. You just don't know what to do. And that's perfectly fine. Now, what I say, awareness. Now we just know we need to find another way to do this. We both don't know what to replace this action with, but now we know that we need to find an action because this one ain't working. So yes, thank you so much for that I statement. We got the link or the name of the title of that book down there. We love the chats. We love them very much so. Um, yeah, so any of the questions, comments, any of the sorts?
The next question is what is one thing I can do to help my partner feel safe and reassured? I know a lot of times when we talk about rebuilding trust, we may think of the person who cheated, but is there something that they could do that could help bring some restoration? That's the question.
Okay. Can you read that to me again? That was a little bit longer than.
Okay, yes. What's one thing I can do this week to help my partner feel safe and reassured? I know for me, one thing that comes up is talking about your commitment to the relationship. I'm committed to you. I'm not going anywhere. We're going to figure this out together. So having that language, if you feel it, if it feels true to you, I don't want you saying that and it doesn't feel true to you, but if it does, then I would affirm the commitment and that you do want to do the work to
Yeah.
rebuild.
I think even more, I'm thinking just even having that as a conversation starter. Like, hey, when we're down, like what can I do? Because it sounds like, baby, I can't tell you what your partner gonna want to make them feel safe. That sounds like a great conversation to have because now they know that you want them to feel safe, and now it's creating a space for them to tell you they giving you the keys to the streets. Now you're gonna know exactly for them, their prototype, how to make them feel safe again. So I would say using that as a conversation starter, asking them straight up, hey, what is it gonna take for you to feel reassured in those moments? So yeah, I said definitely ask that person.
I like what you said about it being a conversation starter. There's
Mhm.
this app that with my clients I use. It's called the Gottman Card Deck app. And
Mhm.
it's a lot of great questions like this to help really stimulate some conversations. One of the sections is called like open-ended questions. Um, it's intimacy questions, it's getting to know you questions. So I know sometimes like in the beginning we feel like we know each other,
Mhm.
but sometimes that changes. We need to
Very much
update
so.
our conversation.
And also, as humans, we grow, we evolve. We're not the same people we was 5 years ago. We shouldn't be. We're growing every day. So yeah, and unless that communication is not completely open, we need to keep each other abreast of what's going on. I got to keep you updated, boo, on me and what's going on. So
I
the
love
next
it.
question.
I think those are all the questions. What does anyone have any other questions? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. All right. Y'all had an opportunity to ask your question to a amazing therapist, and that door is closing soon. Okay, what else you got, Miss Cookie?
Alrighty, so I did want to slide in a few of my examples before I close for tonight. I want to get you guys out of here in a timely fashion. I ain't trying to have y'all up too late. I know people got to get to work in the morning. But I did have some examples and some media connections just because I know I've told you earlier, like I kind of teach through TV, media, and music, but I kind of wanted to give somewhat of an example and also help with the challenge for the ones that have not completed it or had a challenge while completing it and didn't get to complete it. I feel like I said complete 1,000 times in that one sentence, but as I digress. So the first challenge or I guess obstacle will be rebuilding trust. And the immediate example is the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Everybody remember the scene with Uncle Phil and Will when Will's father did not show up. And Uncle Phil in that scene really was highlighted because he didn't give a big speech. There wasn't a grand gesture. He just showed up and he was there for him consistently. And that's really all it takes to rebuild safety is small, dependable action. Those grand gestures, after a while, they wear off. You need those small, dependable actions that stay consistent. That's what you really think about. Like, all right, am I finna leave? Is this my last little straw in my back? And then you think about all those small actions. That's what's gonna get you to stay. That one big grand gesture. Oh, I'm gonna forget about that after a while. Another one of emotional honesty, rebuilding emotional honesty. Like I mentioned earlier, Love Jones, Darius, and Nina. That final scene when they was out there standing in that rain, looking in each other's eyes, all googly like, and that was emotional honesty. That vulnerability. They've been lying to each other, acting like they were just too cool for school. This whole relationship, it took for them to be in the rain, boogers and snot hanging out their nose, in love to just be open and vulnerable. The next one, emotional reassurance, Destiny's Child. Say my name. Everybody think that song was about cheating. Actually, it's about needing to feel seen and secure. Sometimes the letter, it's not gonna start, the way we want it to, but sometimes it's gonna start with help me feel safe again by reassuring me when I'm quiet. Try to say my name, say my name. When nobody is around you, say, baby, I love you. If you ain't running game, baby, she just wants you. I want to feel seen. Yeah, I want you to say my name out loud, but I want to feel seen. So that's the thing, emotional reassurance. And then joy, finding that fun, finding joy as healing. I think one of the best couples to do that is Martin and Gina. Even after chaos, baby, they always found a laugh. Baby, sometimes your letter's gonna start with help me feel safe again by reassuring me when I get quiet, or maybe when I just am not feeling it, when I'm not having a good day, or if I come home and I don't do that certain routine that I'm always, I'm known for doing. That's my sign. That's your sign to check in with me or to do this thing. Sometimes it's not going to always be vulnerable. Sometimes it's in our actions. But yeah, those were some of the examples that I was able to pull from media that I felt like could help with this assignment. And I know sometimes it's easier to talk about things when it's not ourselves. In therapy, of course, we got to talk about ourselves. But when we're doing these type of assignments, it's easy to get out of our bodies, out of our own predicaments, look at it through someone else's lens, and then we'll be less judging, a little less biased. That's a thing. That's a thing. But yeah, that's all I got, you guys. Oh, we got a comment here. I love that. So as a couple first thing, we're speaking on the finance and understand the importance of relationship, nothing. Commitment. Very much so. It is not a sprint. It is very much so a journey. It is a journey. It's a process. It's not because, like I said, we're gonna continue to grow and evolve, and we got to stay on the same page with each other. And sometimes we may not be able to always do that on our own. And that's why we have professionals. That's why we have people that go to school that learn how to do this. We learn how to help people navigate these specific challenges. And one of them is building trust, rebuilding trust, and building a safe environment, especially after trauma. And a lot of times it's easier to do that with someone that has done it before. Like I said, sometimes we will run away from things. We will not do the work because we don't know how to do the work. But baby, we're here to help you. So yes, definitely rebuilding safety is a process. It's not a punishment. It's not about proving that you're perfect. It's more so about proving that you're present. Now, if you like to go deeper, we'd love to help you. And of course, that's the key to this whole coaching therapy thing is transparency, being as real and honest as possible. Because if I come out here and say, "Oh, you can do this," and "Oh, you can do this," and I ain't never tried that, or I don't know if that works, or it's not evidence based, or I haven't seen it work, then ain't no point in me coming here and saying that's wasting your time and mine as well. But like I said, if you'd like to go deeper and get help rebuilding the trust in your relationship, definitely feel free to call and book a session at 404-496-8070. Go ahead and drop that link. And then also, since you're tuned in tonight, if you go ahead and text 25% to that number, you get 25% off your first session. Hey now, hey now. Now, if you do believe, like I believe, that this was a phenomenal turnout and we had some great information dropped, and if you got something for that, please don't hesitate to go ahead and okay, noted. So go ahead and leave us a Google review. And if you do, you'll get a free copy of Marital Peace. So yeah, go ahead and leave a review. Please let them know how this experience was from you. What did you get out of it? Be as detailed as possible, love. And yeah, you get a free e-copy of Marital Peace. You can read it on the go from your phone or even from your computer. And you can get tapped into a better relationship, a better marriage on the go. Who don't love that? So yes, it is 5 minutes before the top of the hour. So I do want to open the floor for any comments, questions, concerns. Don't forget to text 404-496-8070, 25% off, to get 25% off your first session. And don't forget to leave that Google review and get that free e-copy of Marital Peace.
All right. Well, if there is no further ado, we will see you guys tomorrow. We'll be starting 8 o'clock sharp. Make sure that you do the homework. Go ahead and share in the comments what was your favorite part of the tonight. What is one thing that you're like, okay, I didn't realize that, but this is something I need to be mindful of. This is something that I'm going to be shifting. Miss Alexis, anything that you've discovered that you'll be applying? He just says it's nice to have
Yeah, I
community of
actually
understanding.
took some notes down that I really, really liked. Um, I know something in my mind told me that I think there is, maybe it's like using prompts, but I think there is a level of communication to go deeper, to go like much, much deeper and really just exploring that more within myself. I really liked what was said about like talking about commitment and telling your partner like, yeah, I'm committed to you, because like all relationships go through things, and I think it's actually like it's an extra reassurance to just hear someone say, hey, I know we're going through this rough time, but just know I still got your back. I'm still here. And to like have that emotional conversation, be very, very intentional about the commitment. And then the small inconsistent wins is also something. And I also wrote down like my notes. I literally text my notes to my husband. So I also wrote down when we're down, what do we need each other to do? Because I think that's a great way, instead of allowing the other person to just guess and be a mind reader. It's just like, oh yeah, I have this list of things that make this person feel safer and feel loved and all the things. So that's what I'm taking away from it.
Yes,
I
yes,
love
yes.
it.
I love that.
All right, guys. So make sure that you text 25% to 404-496-8070, and you'll get 25% off of your first session. All right. Well, y'all be blessed. Have an amazing rest of the night. And we'll see y'all tomorrow, 8 o'clock. We got another amazing, great, great, great therapist on our team that is going to be coming, giving you guys some nuggets and answering your questions. All right, I'm gonna ask the team to hang back for a minute. Just hang back, team.
No,
Check a